Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to the Anfield Agenda, to my show. I don't know what the show's called, I think it's Late News Agenda or whatever. I'll have to get that out with Craig, that's so poor from myself. But welcome back to Anfield Agenda. I am going to be hosting your show tonight. This is the first ever show I'm doing without Craig, but also without Connor, who's usually lurking in the background. Shout out to the silent assassin, he won't be joining me today. So, luckily, I'm joined by the beautiful people of Anfield Agenda. So be sure to smash a like, but only if you enjoy. And also, subscribe to Anfield Agenda if you haven't already. We've also got a Twitch. Can you imagine? We've got a Twitch, so be sure to click the top link in the description. Go and follow that. Is that what you do on Twitch? I believe that's what you do on Twitch. You follow people instead of subscribe. So there's going to be way more content coming out on there, so definitely keep an eye out and all that other good business. But we have got a bookload to get into today, I'm not even going to lie to you. And then at the end, if we've got a little bit of time in the half an hour that we're spending together with you gorgeous people, then we'll answer some questions or something, if you're interested in me enough. Anyway, so the first thing that I'd like to talk about is Liverpool are keeping an eye on Raphinha's situation at Leeds United. And if he decides to go for a winger, so if Liverpool decides to go for a winger, he could be the name on the list. The Reds have tried the Brazilian last summer, but they deemed the asking price of 60 million plus too expensive. That's according to Fabrizio Romano, one of the more reliable sources. There's many things that you can talk about there. 60 million plus being too expensive being the first thing. Nowadays, that's just kind of what you've got to do if you want to go ahead and buy players from, or the best players from other people's clubs. So, for example, Jack Grealish, Aston Villa. It was at Aston Villa, mid-table club, but you're still going to have to splash 100 million or whatever. Also, a few other examples that jump to mind is, even back in the day, Gini Wijnaldum for 25 million. After a rather mediocre season at Newcastle, he scored like 11 goals, but he weren't anything special, he weren't tearing up the place. And that still, at the time, was quite a lot of money. So when you go and jump on the younger players, or the best players, like I should say, who are still rather young at other clubs, then you've got to be able to pay the price, 60 million plus, in today's market. I don't think that's too bad for a player of that quality, and I've always said Raphinha will bring to this team what we just do not have. Mane with the pace and directness, Salah also a very similar type of player with pace. We like to play it over the top to him. Whereas Raphinha, if you're playing against a low block, that's somebody who can unlock that defence with just a moment of quality, because he is someone who can dribble past 2, 3, 4 players. Salah can also do the same, but cutting inside on that left foot, it's just a different option. He can also play on the left with that left foot as well. So I would like Raphinha at the club. I'd like Liverpool to jump on it more. Would he be my first choice option? I'm not really too sure, because I'm sure if I delved into it, there could be a few more choices. But he's Premier League proven. We know he can do it in a decent team. And think about how many chances he'd get in the Liverpool team. Not to mention his creative side. He's got a great creative side to his game. He'd be whipping balls into man like friggin' Bobby Firmino, Diogo Jota, Divock Origi, best believe. And just as an option, I don't want no player at the club that isn't willing to fight for their place. Because I already know if Raphinha joins, his place in the squad wouldn't be guaranteed. Rightly so, as we've got great quality within that squad. But when you look at someone like Diogo Jota, who just went, you know what, fuck this. I might not be a Bobby Firmino, might not be a Mane, I might not be a Salah, but I am Diogo, friggin' the best Portuguese player in the world, Jota. Best believe I'm going to make an impact. And when you look at his goals to games, when you look at the performances he puts in for Liverpool, he's a great option to have, and is probably one of the more underrated signings. And he was 40 million or 45 million. So when you put that in comparison to 60 million with Raphinha, it's really not that bad. Raphinha's arguably, I think undoubtedly, got a higher profile joining Liverpool than what Diogo Jota had. I'm not saying he's better than Diogo Jota. Again, he's proven a lot since he's joined Liverpool. But who's to say Raphinha can't do the same? Who's to say that he won't improve under Jurgen Klopp? Not to mention, he's not going to be asking for extortionate wages. I think it kind of makes sense. 60 plus million for a Premier League club's best player. We're not talking about Timo Pukki or friggin' Cantwell from Norwich. We're talking about Raphinha, someone who probably has the ability to play for a top 4 side. I'd be willing to take the punt when you mention the Premier League proven point, when you mention all that, but I'd love to know what you would say. Would you take Raphinha, or is there other options? Of course, there's always other options, but don't just not get Raphinha because he's a little bit too expensive. That's all I'm going to say. And or think about all the players that Liverpool are probably planning to sell in the near future. Maybe they're not, but let's say if they are, we recruited, I think it was 40 to 50 million in the summer. Sometimes you've just got to go into your own pockets, the side of the couches, and be willing to spend that little bit more if you want to get the player that you so wish. Otherwise, you're going to lose them to a Chelsea. You know, even look at Riyad Mahrez when he joined City. That's what Manchester City have been run down for doing, buying the littler Premier League club's best players and then making the most of it. Even in Spain, when they buy players like Rodri, buying players like Cancelo, you know, just jumping on the opportunity to buy these world-class players. Liverpool don't do the same. We're just very much, let's get a player who's decent and we'll make him good. And Raphinha fits into that similar mould, but I think we'd have more confidence knowing that he's going to be a good player. So I think he'd be alright. He might not be my number one option, but I'd love to know what you've got to say. Even Mullers has just came in and said Chiesa is the best out there, go for the best. And I'd love Chiesa, and I've just mentioned Cancelo. Cancelo came from Juventus. Big name player. Chiesa would be a lot of money for sure. But if he's your number one option, sometimes you've just got to go a little bit over the odds. If you haven't got the money, you haven't got the money. So then let's cross off Chiesa. Let's say Chiesa's 100 million. You can't afford that. Then maybe Raphinha's your next best option. What you want to end up with? Doku? Doku sounds, for sure, but he's a completely different player to Raphinha. And, you know, I think with the amount of different teams you play in the Premier League now, with different tactical setups and stuff like that, it only makes sense to get someone maybe a little bit different. Kind of like what Thiago is. Thiago isn't the same as what Gini Wijnaldum was, or Jordan Henderson is, or Harvey Elliott. He brings a completely different dimension, which is why maybe Klopp doesn't start him in every game, but there is them certain games where if you do start Thiago, he can really turn up. We're going to talk about the Porto game a little bit later on in the show as well. We're going to talk about Manchester United getting their new manager. I feel like that's going to be maybe my next topic, because that's a huge topic to go into. But I do want to read a few more of the comments. Even Michael is saying buy him. I feel like a lot of people in the Anfield agenda community is agreeing with me, which is boss, because I don't have a lot of great opinions, but when I can throw one out there, listen, I will fucking take it. I will be buzzing if we get Raphinha, says Michael. I mean, look at what Jota has brought to us, 42 million. Think what Raphinha could bring. Holy, this is what I mean. Diogo Jota isn't a Sadio Mane. He's not a Mohamed Salah, but he's a Diogo, best Portuguese player in the world. Jota. And he came out of nowhere. When you looked at Wolves' team at that time, he probably weren't even the third best option to go and get. You know, you heard it from Wolves fans. Oh, we've just absolutely stolen 42 million off you. If the scouting team is saying go and get Raphinha, go and get Raphinha. Believe their judgment. They've proven it over seasons. I don't understand why we don't jump on it, and it gets me emotional because I'm sick of Liverpool missing out on these key targets. It might not be your number one option, might not be mine, but if it's Liverpool's, go out and get it. And I believe with Fabrizio Romano reporting on this topic, I do believe there was significant interest, but we just never pressed the button because we didn't want to spend the money. We didn't want to go down the side of the couches, which is just devastating. But the next thing that I'll talk about is what Jurgen Klopp said about Manchester United's new manager, Ralph Rangnick. But when I read things out, I do the primary school stuff where I say every single letter. Why has he got an N when it's Rangnick? But either way, this is what Jurgen Klopp said. Rangnick is one of the best, if not the best, chairman coach out there. Rangnick is close to being appointed to Manchester United's new interim coach. This was written earlier. He's basically the new interim manager at Manchester United. And with high praise like that from Jurgen Klopp, that's got to be concerning. That has got to be concerning. I believe him and Jurgen Klopp have done work before. For those who are unfamiliar with Rangnick's work, he's managed Schalke when they were a much better team. He's managed Leipzig in some of their peak seasons over the last 5 to 10 years, because Leipzig is still a very, very young club, but I believe 2 of their best seasons came under Rangnick, where he got them like second and I think won them the German version of the FA Cup. I haven't watched Rangnick and Leipzig when Rangnick was there, but from what I've heard, he's going to make Manchester United have a style of play. He's going to give them a philosophy. And he is only the interim manager, so there's no guarantees. And Manchester United were very much certainly short of options, but I am so interested to know what you've got to say. If I have to give a verdict, I don't like to go against Jurgen Klopp when he's choosing the Liverpool team, because who the fuck am I? Jurgen Klopp knows way more about football than my ugly arse does. That's just a fact. That's an absolute. You know me for absolutes. There's an absolute for you. Jurgen Klopp shits on my football knowledge for sure. If he plays Divock Origi or Minamino in a game that they're not supposed to play, I still can't really go against his judgment, because he made Nat Phillips and Reece Williams look like a world-class centre-back partnership last season. If he's going to be saying the new Manchester United manager is well tactically astute, who's to say that he's not going to do well at Manchester United? He's labelled him the best German coach. You saw what Thomas Tuchel's doing right now. Not to mention Jurgen Klopp, by the way. This is insane. He must be a good manager. And like I said, at his time at Leipzig, he done very well, but he had 2 short spells at the club for sure. So it is an interesting one. I do think Man United, not that it's like a big improvement for them, because the only way really is up. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you're not getting worse than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, are you? So that's why I'm thinking maybe now they compete for top 4. I think they're a little bit too far off for the title race. But undoubtedly, with the players that they've got, I think their back 4's overrated. This is why I still think Manchester United are going to struggle, because sometimes bad defenders are just bad defenders. Varane isn't 100% reliable, not in terms of performance. I do think he's an overrated player slightly. Not bad. People always confuse overrated with not bad. Like, he's not a bad player. He's a very good player. But he's not what Diaz is now. He's not what Virgil van Dijk is now, and that's what you've got to talk about. Forget Champions League, Varane. Talk about what he is now, and right now he's not as good as them 2 centre-backs. Thiago Silva, he's never been that. He's never been a Sergio Ramos. Harry Maguire, I don't even need to talk about Harry Maguire. If you want to pay £80 million for a fat head, just shout me or Craig. Don't be shouting Harry Maguire. Luke Shaw, Beto Carlos this, Beto Carlos that, being compared to Robertson after 1 good season and about 8, and then Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Full stop. That is not a good back 4, and that's most likely what they're going to start. When you move into the midfield, what Rangnick is known for is his gegenpressing. That's apparently his style of play, kind of like what Jurgen Klopp was when he first joined Liverpool. Paul Pogba isn't... Can you imagine Paul Pogba gegenpressing? Like, that's as bad as imagining Susan Boyle naked. So don't do it, because it's not going to happen. Bruno Fernandes, he's not that type of player either. Ronaldo, he's not that type of player. I feel like the ones that suit that system would be the likes of Martial, who's not going to play. Rashford, who might play. Sancho, possibly. But in the main, Manchester United have still got a lot of holes within their squad. I feel like you're going to see a lot more of Fred, thank fuck, because he's got an engine. And the back 4's not going to change much. They're going to persist with Ronaldo. They're going to persist with Fernandes, who aren't really going to press. So let's see how much Manchester United and Rangnick gel, because they're in a shit show. So no matter how good of a manager is, it doesn't always guarantee you trophies. We saw that with Louis van Gaal. We saw that with Jose Mourinho. And when I say trophies, I mean top-flight trophies, not Europa Leagues, not FA Cups, Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, which when you look at Manchester United's squad, that's what they should be competing for. That's what they should be confused. McFred is going to be crying now. But McTominay probably won't play as much. Fred probably will, because again, he's a gegenpressing manager, so he's going to want energy. No one really besides Fred, regardless how good or bad that he is, brings that energy like the way Fred does. So therefore, don't be too worried. I think Fred's going to be starting a lot in the near future. I feel like Klopp can bring... Oh, yeah, that was on Raphinha before. I feel like Klopp can bring Raphinha to the top. It's been proven with Jota, Taki, and Taki Minamino. No, for sure. Jurgen Klopp's brilliant. And that's another thing. How much, when you're related to Rangnick, how much better does he make these Manchester United players? Does he improve them significantly? Because even though he's had good spells in the game, he's not known for being a world-class manager. He hasn't won anything significant in the game, and that's what Man United are going for. So we'll see what he's like on the big stage, whether he overcomplicates things and this, that, and the other. Milner is even a better right back than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I mean, you're just telling me things that I know now, Lawrence. I feel like everyone knows James Milner's a better anything than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. James Milner Neymar, man. I feel like that I should stop calling him James Milner Neymar. I feel like that's disrespectful. Because Neymar's quality, but Milner's just well better. I've just upset so many Neymar fanboys. If you see all the dislikes, that was the Neymar fanboys. That was the Neymar fanboys. They already hate me. Get this James off Anfield agenda. But I do think it's a good appointment, because he's a good coach. He's going to give them a style of play. How does that style of play work is what remains to be seen. but it's a step in the right direction from them. But I wouldn't be worrying if you're a Liverpool fan. I'll tell you that for free. The next thing that I'd like to talk about before... Well, actually, two more things that I'd like to talk about before we answer any questions is Liverpool official supporters trust Spirit of Shankly are edging ever closer to a deal with the owners FSG that would ensure consent would be required, or would ensure that consent would be required from the trust before any major decisions are made which impact the traditions of the club. So what I mean by that, because I'm not a great reader, is when FSG decide to do a Super League, they would then have to go to the Spirit of Shankly, basically get their approval in a way, you know, like a sort of a partial approval, if that's the right way to say it, in terms of, like, you know, whether we agree or not to make that decision, which I think is brilliant if we can get over the line. This is according to the Liverpool Echo. If that gets done, brilliant. Do I think it will get done? I'd be very surprised, because if FSG give that much ownership to the Liverpool fan base, which is what Spirit of Shankly represents, then that Super League idea, which I think could maybe pop up again one day, that, you know, it's going to go against them. You know what I'm saying? And then how legit is this, you know, deal between the owners and the Spirit of Shankly? There's so many questions that you need to ask. That's why I'm just sort of in two minds. It would be brilliant if it did happen and FSG stuck to their word and gave a bit more faith into the fans. But they also know that they could lose a lot of money by doing that. And if all the other owners, which is who they care about more than us, you know what I mean? The mates with all the other top six owners, they made that plan together. You know, we go into the Super League together, and if it fails, then we die together. They're probably going to try again. So I'd like it if this did go through, for sure. Whether it will or it won't remains to be seen. Selection with a super chat, thank you very much. Means more than you think, my mate. He says, United will be a threat. I'm saying it now. We will be different with Fred and Lingard, players with high energy, and he's been proven to find right players for his system. Keita, Kanate, Mane, or just to name a few. That's what I'm saying about Rangnick. He's someone who's, you know, I've mentioned in comparison to Jurgen Klopp. Can he find players? When you name them names, apparently he can. So for sure, it just depends if he's got the balls to play a Lingard over a Bruno or over a Pogba, you know, because these are big name players. How much does politics get involved with Manchester United? That's the big question. But thank you for the super chat, my mate. The Super League isn't coming back, people. I just want to clarify. That was just a sort of example of if FSG decided to go for the Super League again, they wouldn't then have full control to be able to go ahead and go through with that. Because if they get this deal through with the Spirit of Shankly, there's a chance that we would then say, well, we don't want the Super League, which FSG would have to listen to when it comes to this agreement. But we know FSG are just money-grabbing bastards. If they do that, fair play. Honestly, really, really fair play. Shout out to Craig, who I believe is in the chat. He's just said, just back from my booster jab. I'm sure as I was walking out, the doctor shouted, WFM! We are fucking massive. Yeah, damn right. Shout out to Manscaped. Again, they don't sponsor this video, but it's just funny shouting them out. WFM20 anyway, because why not? But yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. And then let's talk about the Porto game. The beauty of was it yesterday? Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, because today's Thursday. Yes, 2-0 win, but it felt like we smashed them. And Porto had a chance in the first half. I think they had one early in the second half also, which could have maybe made it a bit more interesting. Otherwise, flawless performance. I can't really think of anyone who done too bad. I saw quite a few people jumping on Kanate and saying he didn't have the greatest game. When I watched it back, I kind of saw why they would say that, but I thought in the main, he was solid. And bear in mind, Kanate isn't someone who's getting a consistent run of games, so there is going to be times where he's caught out of position, he's not making the right decision, but it doesn't mean he's a bad defender. And again, overall, I actually thought he done okay. I thought Matip was brilliant. I thought Nico friggin' Williams, the next Gareth Bale from the looks of things. The delivery was on point, his attack and play was great, defensively sharp, didn't have no problems. And now when you look at our depth in the back four, Shimikas, Kostas Shimikas, the Greek scouser, he had another fantastic performance. I mean, you know, look at that back line, just the backup back line, Shimikas, Nico Williams, Joe Gomez and Kanate. Gomez weren't available, that's why he never played, but just think about them options, that's fantastic. If we did, touch wood, lose a Van Dijk or a Joel Matip, they're really not the worst ones to step in place. And there's just that debate still going on between Kostas Shimikas and friggin' Andrew Robertson. I understand if you want to start Andrew Robertson, because that's absolutely sound. He's the best left-back in the world and has been for the past few seasons. But sometimes you've got to go off form. When Mane was playing bad last season, I said we need to drop him. Diogo needs to play above him. Give Divock Origi a chance just because he's literally not offering nothing in games. If Kostas offers more in games than Robbo at the moment, then let him have his place. You know, you've got to earn your place in the squad on merit, not just because of what you've done. If if it was based on what you've done, then friggin' Kenny Dalglish should walk right back into this team. It's about the here and now. Robertson looked good when he came on against Porto. I'm not even disputing that. Maybe if you give him some minutes, maybe the right option isn't to drop Robertson. Otherwise, he's just going to lose more momentum. But Tsimikas is playing great. He's not just dropping 6s and 7s. He's dropping 9s and 10s. And that's why I'm thinking, why not just give him a chance? You know what I mean? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And it would be a shame for Tsimikas' great form. Because it's not just good. It's great form. He's playing like one of the best left-backs in the league at the moment. It would be a shame if we didn't capitalise on that good form. And that's why I think it should be talked about more. It doesn't mean that Robertson's shit. Just want to clarify. Does not mean he's shit. Doesn't mean he's not good no more. Doesn't mean Tsimikas is better. But right now, I think Tsimikas deserves a shot. Panda says Matip is too slow for the team. Get out. I have to massively disagree. I feel like you're being very, very harsh. You say he's too slow. He's not the quickest specimen that you've ever seen in your life, but you know he makes up for that in good looks, and he makes up for that in attacking runs and ability on the ball. His passing is probably underrated, I'd say. Defensively, the way he reads the game is fantastic. So yeah, he might not have pace, but if you judged every player because they're too slow, then you're probably not going to have Jamie Carragher in a Liverpool team for 10 years, Sammy Hippier. You know, like, Sammy Hippier weren't known for his pace, but he was still fucking quality. So I'd have to really disagree with that statement, but fair play if that's what you believe. Thiago's goal went straight to Pornhub. Should have went on all the fucking websites. X videos, XNXX, all the fucking business. I have COVID, I feel so crap, Cave. I really hope that you get well soon, my mate, and anyone else who might be feeling unwell. Really, really do hope that you're better soon, brother. Want to see Gomez and Virgil van Dijk partnership back again. This is another thing that we need to talk about, Salmon. When Gomez is back fit, because right now he has got a little minor injury, like, does he get discussed? Does he get put back into the conversation? Does Konate guarantee a place over Joe Gomez? Because that's what it's looked like so far. We know that it's Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip, and rightly so. But then what is the pecking order behind that? Because it's really out of Gomez and Konate. Because we know Nat Phillips is below them, which is dead devastating because Nathaniel Dini Van Phillips is boss. But Gomez and Konate, two top-class centre-backs. But I think we forget, you know, without that long-term injury, you're probably looking at a regular starter for England in Joe Gomez. You're already looking at a Champions League winner, you're looking at a Premier League winner, and he has a vital part in both of them. I'd like to see Gomez being given another chance. He's had his tendencies to make mistakes, but he's also had many world-class games for Liverpool Football Club. He's only 23 years of age, he can get better. I always thought, you know what, if there's anyone who's most likely going to be the next Rio Ferdinand in the Liverpool backline, it'd be Joe Gomez. So, and I say next Rio Ferdinand because I feel like their style of plays kind of a similar. Of course, Rio Ferdinand is way better. He's way more proven. But who's to say Gomez can't get to that level or anywhere close? Because I think if you'd asked me 2 years ago, a lot of people would have put in a suggestion for that. Matip over Gomez for me. It's Matip over Gomez for me as well. Like, listen, Matip has been our best centre-back this season. I think he's been better than Virgil van Dijk. I think Klopp has noticed that Matip's been performing better than Van Dijk, because you're seeing in the Champions League games, you know, usually it's Matip who gets rested. He's not getting rested no more. It's because he's undeniable. So it's not a case of who gets in above Virgil van Dijk and Matip. But when Konate and Gomez feel like they take that step, who's the one, you know, the Champions League games that you need to fill in for, the League Cup games, the FA Cup games, who gets the nod? It could be both of them, but usually Klopp likes to keep one of his main centre-backs in the team, so who's the one that rotates? Right now it looks like it's going to be Konate, even if Joe Gomez is fit. But it's a great headache to have. We're talking about this like it's a huge problem. Like, mate, it's really not a bad problem. This is great that we've got these options, and Tsimikas with Robbo, Gomez and Konate, and Nathaniel Dini Van Phillips, not to mention Nico Williams at right back. I feel like this is a great headache to have, but we feel that like it's a bad thing, or like poor Joe Gomez. Like, I love Joe Gomez, you love Joe Gomez, we all do, but If Konate's playing better in training, then that's really what you've got to go based off. I love Joe Gomez, but Konate over him right now. I'm sure there's a few people who agree with you, my mate. Tyler Morton is the future of the midfield. Have you ever seen a more beautiful selfie of Mr. Captain Fantastic times the future with Jordan Henderson and Tyler Morton yesterday? Beautiful. You can see Jordan Henderson really rates Tyler Morton as well. He sends him a lot of well wishes on social media. You can see that he's kind of taking him under his wing, and I love that from Henderson, because you know what, before we talk about the brilliant performance of Tyler Morton, let's not forget Jordan Henderson is not just the presence on the pitch, he's the presence off the pitch. He isn't just a passion merchant like rivals like to suggest. He's actually very good at football also. But then you see young players like Tyler Morton coming through and Henderson getting his arm round him. Kind of like the way James Milner was off with Jordan Henderson and Steven Gerrard was off with Jordan Henderson. Henderson's learned off some of the best midfielders to grace this league for completely different reasons. Milner's experience, Gerrard's quality. And he's not as good as Steven Gerrard. He hasn't got the experience of Milner. But he's good at everything. He's not world class at any one thing, but he's a good passer, he's a good defender. And then off the pitch, he's just as much as an influence. And I think having someone with that stature put their arm around you, I think that only makes you more confident going forward. But that is just me. Like Tyler Morton yesterday, he was pulling strings. He was like the pass that he put in over the top to Mo Salah, which then linked up the play with Henderson. That was unbelievable. And he hasn't just been, he's not just someone who's came out of nowhere. Tyler Morton has been one of the better prospects in our youth academy for a long, long time. He's only 18 years of age. He's literally looking at all the Liverpool fans who said, we should have bought a midfielder in the summer, and saying a big fuck you. He's saying fuck you to me, because I am one of those guys. I am one of those guys who's saying, buy another midfielder. Tyler Morton's telling me to shut the fuck up. You don't know me. You don't know what I bring. And yesterday we saw a glimpse of what it was. Premier League debut and Champions League debut in the same week. I feel like we didn't really see much against Arsenal because it was for like 10 minutes. But then against Porto, you saw the quality that he brings, and he's another option. If you're someone who doesn't feel Tyler Morton is good enough to step up in a league game or step up in an FA Cup game, or just when you've got an injury or two, I feel like that's ludicrous, because I think now we've saw, even just in 90 minutes of football, that he is a good player. Even his tackling in the game, his interceptions, reading. I like Tyler Morton, and I'd like to know what you all think, especially for those who aren't watching live. Get it in the comments down below, because he looks like a top-class player, man. Seeing kids get starts like the other night is what it's all about, 100%. And the best thing is, we're not just starting kids for starting kids' sake, we're starting them because they're good enough. Nico Williams last season probably didn't look the greatest, hence why he didn't get as many chances this season. Now he's getting a few more, and he's grabbing them with both hands, man. And now if Trent gets injured, touch wood, it's not ideal, but based on Nico's form, I probably would be a little bit confident, because even Milner was playing above Nico last season at right back. I don't think that'd be the case now. I really, really don't. I think Milner is a guaranteed midfield option every time you see him between now and the end of his Liverpool career, especially if Nico Williams keeps up the form that he's had at the moment. I mean, look at this list of young players: Curtis, Morton, Trent, Elliott, Owen Beck. Owen Beck, someone's not even starting at the moment, because we've got Costas, who's 24, not even to mention Diogo Jota. Like, everyone's talking about how our team's over the hill. Harvey Elliott is the fucking future. Curtis Jones is the future. From what it looks like, Konate, 21, he looks like to be the future. 22. Gomez, 23. Jota, 23 or 24. Shimikas, 24. Like, we've already started putting the building blocks in the right place for what our next squad is going to be. And the best thing is, all these players are here right now. They're learning off fans, like they're learning off Salah and Mane and whatnot. Like, I could be glorifying it for sure. Not all of these players are going to be world class. Tyler Morton could prove to be a mid-table Premier League player, but we don't know about that yet. Under the tutelage of Jurgen Klopp, we might as well give him a chance. And same with all the other youngsters, because that's a brilliant list to have, and again, a beautiful headache to have. James Redmond is the future. My G, Craig. I'm assuming it's Craig, because that sounds like something that Craig would say. He likes to make me feel like a superstar, so big up yourself, you legends. You know what I mean? I'm like the Tyler Morton, you're the Jordan Henderson. That's what we're going with. Jude Bellingham, ? Yes. We haven't had a topic on Jude Bellingham. I'm not even going to go into detail what that yes means, but yes. Jude Bellingham, choo-choo, motherfucking choo, baby. 100%. What do you make of the Japanese Messi. Let me correct you, Smoky Klopp. You've just said, what do you make of Taki? What do you make of the Japanese Messi? What more do I need to say? He's been brilliant. I like his ball control. I like the defensive output that he's putting in the game. His pressing's very good. He really suits our style of play, more so than what I thought. I think the only downside to his game is the fact he gets bodied once in a while. His physicality isn't quite up there. Otherwise, honestly, he looks like a really good fucking player, and I'm not even just trying to jump on that. I'm not trying to glorify it. Last season, I weren't a fan of Minamino. You know what I mean? But now you've got me calling him the Japanese Messi for a reason. Because he's putting in good performances. I think that's now 4 goals in all competitions for Minamino. Another good performance without a goal. Because that's one thing I thought when he joined Southampton. And even Southampton fans agreed. He'd get goals, but he wouldn't play that good. So, because he wouldn't play that good, it didn't fully convince them, and therefore didn't convince me. If you can't convince Southampton fans, how are you going to convince someone who wants to win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues? But now he's looking like a viable option. With these performances, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Mane or Salah when they do go, but it's a good option. And if he keeps performing like this, then I believe he could actually give them a run for the money if they find any bad form anytime soon. Taki needs to hit the gym now for sure. He does need to hit the gym, but he is a good player, and he suits our system massively, and you can understand why Jurgen Klopp wanted him. I thought Jurgen Klopp got Taki Minamino simply just because he had a good game. Do you like the way Ronaldo was signed for United? He was a good prospect, but they signed him because he absolutely slaughtered them. That was what certified the decision to sign Ronaldo. That's the type of thing on just different scales with Minamino and why we signed him. I also thought it was for markability. So that area, the Asian market, Liverpool want to dive into that a little bit more. And Minamino's huge where he comes from, so I'd understand that decision for just 7.5 million, because you're going to make that back in shirt sales. But still, he actually turns out that he suits our system. He's a good player, and you should just trust Jurgen Klopp. And we'll see if Minamino can be an ever-present stay in that midfield, because he does look decent. 7.5 million, really not bad. People are asking me about the Raphinha news. It was just that Liverpool turned down 60 million, or to buy Raphinha for 60 million plus in the summer. And the question that I asked was, should Liverpool just shut the fuck up, go down the side of the couches and pay that money if it's a player that you want? But we did talk about that at the top of the show. But yeah, if you've got any questions before I close out, I'll do 2 or 3 more minutes, so we'll get a few more questions and comments in. James, do you have any news on Harvey Elliott? That you know the same as me. The last time he was in he's back in training, but he's not doing high intense. He's still got a while before he comes back. If I had to make an estimate, I can see him coming back in February. February seems like a month that just seems realistic. So I believe that when he is fully available, and we know that Jurgen Klopp likes to be 100% sure, I think that'll be the month that Harvey Elliott returns and does an absolute madness because he's dead boss. If Leeds get relegated, then a bargain. No, for sure. Do you know what? That's another thing to mention about Raphinha. If Leeds United get relegated, which based on their form this season is a huge possibility, that 60 million plus goes down to 30, 40 million. How much was Shankly when he got relegated? It's 15 million, wasn't it? There and thereabouts. Players do get... Gini Wijnaldum. Do you know when Gini left Newcastle, did they get relegated? Because I know they've had a few relegations, but I don't know if it was that season. I think it was because Rafa came in. I don't... Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did they get relegated the season we bought Gini? Because Gini Wijnaldum was 25 million, which I thought was actually quite a bit at the time, but he was still one of their bigger players. They had Moussa Sissoko and stuff then. Even a few players are saying Ismail Assar would be a good signing. He'd be signed. I just go with whoever Jurgen Klopp wants. These are all sound options. They'll probably do a job in our team. It's just who do we get? If I got to choose out Assar and Raphinha, I'd edge Raphinha. Just because, again, he's something different, man. Get Raphinha now, and then get Doku whenever you want to get Doku. And then he's similar to Mane and Salah for when one of them are finished. Raphinha, though, right now is the one that I want. But that's just me. Anyway, people, I'll probably round up the show there. That's been a great one. Thank you for everyone who interacted in the chat. This was a phenomenal show. Next week, I'll be back either Thursday or Friday. I'm guessing Craig will confirm that with me. We've got another show on Sunday, and then we've got one on Monday, so make sure that you're there. That's the ones involving me. Craig has got content coming out of his arse. every single day. So be sure you're sticking around on this channel, Mundo Sporto. Go follow the Twitch. Not there in the comments down below, in the description down below. Well done, James. You wouldn't think I do YouTube, would you? But anyway, great stream. Smash a like only if you enjoyed. Also, subscribe to Anfield Agenda, and I will see you all later. Peace out, peeps.